In the center of the grand, man-made, Crottston orbital structure, or also known as the mechanical ersatz planet, Xena, the foundation stones for the hundreds of thousands of cities that currently houses a hard-working polity of over 50 billion plus personnel was laid, which spans approximately about 245 million square kilometers. On the recommendation of Sir Winston Allen Medrose, a popular architect and human rights activist, the orbit was inserted into the final draft of the orbital system construction layout, and hence, the orbit was named after Allen's family name, as the Medrose orbit. The Medrose family was one of the most influential families in the history of humankind. Though not as mighty as the higher-ups, Medrose still rebelled against the fiercely powerful elites of the world, who were slowly wiping out free will from the world and establishing total control over the global population silently from the shadows. Though they did make a valid attempt to fight against the system, the elites just were way beyond their powers to stop. Each and every single descendant of the family passed away in unnatural circumstances, with nothing crucial following after the initial reports of their demises. Radio silence was maintained on the topic by the authorities at the time in which the case was hot and shrouded with mysteries and conspiracies. But, in time, everyone moved on, and the Medrose family was buried in a void, forgotten by all. Those who knew were silenced or suppressed. Hence, the origin of the very name of the orbit was wiped out of existence, to be never recited again. Eons have passed since these events, and still, Medrose, as it always has been, is a world of puppets. People dwelling the orbit are all middle-class people, dreaming to escape this artificial hell. From a bird's-eye view of the orbit, all one can see is the endless seeming expanse of towering trees of metal planted all across the land. But, upon closer inspection, you realize what a living hell this orbit truly is. In total, there are 9 orbits in this forged planet, which includes 8 official and authorized orbits, and 1 illegally created orbit, owned and occupied by the notorious Warsmith family, currently under the regulation of the final descendant of the family, William Winslow Warsmith. Keeping aside the 9th orbit, also known as Hermit Island, where William resides, rest all are classified into different classes. To keep being a part of the Medrose orbit, a person would have to raise a revenue of 100,000 zeros per annum. This is the basic limit, and it is applicable to all adults. Specific rebates, deductions, set-offs, and carry-forwards are available to the people based on varying conditions and circumstances. If a person is unable to make the required amount, then they would have to relinquish all their properties in the orbit and leave for the 6th orbit, the Celtros orbit, an orbit with a lot worse living conditions, filled with industries and factories. Hence, Medrose in comparison to Celtros is a much more ambitious place to live, with a lot of attractive packages presented. But the price tag of 100,000 zeros per annum is a ridiculous amount, which not all would be able to gather. You can say that the required limit for this orbit is quite exorbitant. Hence, people who aren't able to amass such large numbers have no other option other than settling down with their small fortunes in the industrial hub of the forged planet, the Celtros orbit. Medrose is filled with money-hungry people, with no other objective than amassing wealth and resources. So, it's obvious that crime rates are record high with each coming year in Medrose. Hence, why people living in Medrose look to garner huge profits, so that they can leave behind this orbit and shift to the higher orbits. There is quite literally a paywall in between the orbits, without paying which you can't access the other side. Money is the king of this planet, and its subjects follow it endlessly till their demises. Any day now, the concept of free will be wiped out of this planet, leaving behind the people as nothing but mere machines made up of flesh, designed for the sole purpose of endlessly chasing behind meaningless numbers. There is an urgent need for the people to unite and act together to liberate themselves from this oppressing system, before someone else starts to hold the pen to their stories.